This is a how-to video on creating and editing the blue plaque template. So you'll be on the Rebel Toolkit, and here you'll be at the section where it's talking about the blue plaques for nature templates. Have a read through of the bits of instructions beforehand, but this is what you'll end up doing. When you're ready, you'll click on one of these two folders. They work the same way, so it doesn't matter which one I show you. I'm going to choose the XR Groups folder, and when I click on that, it will bring up all of my different subfolders in there. So these are the ones that are already pre-made for you, where you can just download and print them out. Ones with the QR codes on, ones with the Restore Nature Now logo. This folder is the one that has the editable templates in, and that applies to whether you're in the XR Groups folder or the non-XR Groups folder. You can also open up the instructions and have a read through of those as well. They're pretty clear. So double click on the editable templates folder, and then we're going to edit the one with the QR code. Again, doesn't matter which one I choose here. It's the same process for both. Within the subfolder, you'll find two files, one that has an editable one line and the other that has an editable two lines. And that's to allow for longer names of species, like water vole, which is what I'm going to use as an example. So I'm going to go into the editable two-line file. And then once you've opened up the file, the first thing you need to do with any of the editable blue plaques is to make a copy. You won't be able to edit this. This is the view-only version. To make a copy, you go top left to File, select, and then select Make a Copy. Give it a name that you're going to remember so that you can find it again. And then select where you want to save it. The advice is that the best place to save it is in your own Google Drive, because then you can keep everything that you're using in there, download it and print it out. Or if you want to, and you want to use a commercial printer, you can send them the file. So I've already created a folder on my Google Drive called Blue Plaques, but the way that you would do that for yourself is go to All Locations, select My Drive, and then if you wanted to create a folder to store all of this in, you could call it Dirty Water or just Blue Plaques. Go bottom left and click on where it says New Folder, and then give it a name and create. So that's what I did with this Blue Plaques folder. And this is where I'm going to start to save all of my edited Blue Plaques. Select the folder and then choose Select. And then make a copy, and that will have made a copy and saved it into that Blue Plaques folder on my Google Drive. I'll show you at the end of the video how to find that and then download your edited versions and do whatever you want to with them after that. Once you've got your copy open and you can see it's got the name I've given it, scroll down and here you've got two-line species. You can see that there's a little bit tight, the spacing between the sort of header or the name of the species and then the further text. But don't worry, you can fiddle around with that and get that sorted. To edit the text, simply double click on the blue plaque, and it will bring you into the drawing tool for Google. Click into where it says two-line species, and you can see that there's a blue text box around it. So these two lines are a separate bit of the text. You go up to the three dots. If you want to change the line spacing here, you can select the text and then go to the line spacing option, which is this one with the 3 lines and the double-headed arrow. Select that and choose custom spacing, and then choose 0.65 and apply. You can see it sort of brings it closer together and then stops it from sort of infringing on the text below. Then you can change the text here. If you want to have a look at some of the other blue plaques, just to get an idea of things like wording, punctuation, then you can go back to the drive and then go back to the folder where you started off originally, and you can, when you open that folder, you can go and have a look at the ones that are already pre-prepared for you. So here's one that's definitely going to have a 2-line species because of the length of the name. And if I open that one, I can see how it's spaced, that it starts with a lowercase letter and that there's formatting like punctuation marks in there. And then when you're ready, add in your second line of text. Oh, I'm going to put, I might put the water vole, or I could put plural. Yeah, however you feel you'd like to add the name. Then once you've finished with your text, just make sure that it's centered. And the way that you do that is you select the text box. So don't have the flashing line. Just click on the blue lines around the text box, and then you'll get that pointy 4-pointed cross where you can then make sure that when you get that red line, it goes all the way through the center of the blue plaque. If it does this, where it sort of doesn't go all the way up, it's centering on something else. So you want that full red line. And then the same with your header. Get the full red line and then click away and make sure you're happy with it. I think there's probably, that's a little bit tight in terms of space there. So I'm going to drop this down a bit and make sure that that's readable. So that needs to be an is. Okay, that looks okay to me. And then once you've finished with your text, save and close. And there it is. and then top left again to File, and then you can download it from here, and you can do things like download it as a PDF, and then that will enable you to print it out, or you could send it to a printer as a PDF if you wanted to get it professionally printed. So say you wanted it on an A3 rather than an A4. And then the other thing that you can do, which is very handy, is if you download it as a PDF, you can then go to another website, such as Convertio, and for something like a PDF, you can convert into different types of file formats. So if I go to Convertio and then go to choose file, and then go to my downloads, there is the PDF that I've just downloaded from Google. And if I select that, I can choose what type of file I want to convert it to. If I click the little down arrow, I can convert it to a JPEG or a PNG. So say I wanted to convert it to a JPEG, I would select that, choose convert, and then once it converted, I can download that to my computer, and then I can go to my downloads and find that file. There it is as a JPEG, and there it is as a PDF. When I open it, you can see that I could print that out as an A4, or I could send that to the printers. They probably would want something more along the lines of a PNG, a PNG, or the PDF rather than a JPEG, but just ask them what type of file format they prefer it in. And that's it. That's how you edit a blue plaque template. Thanks for watching.